Hello. Doing something a little bit different today. I'm not heading off to drive a used car or report on another problem with one of my cars. I'm off to do a track day experience or supercar experience, and I am going to be driving a Lamborghini Huracán LP610-4. Tommy's going to be driving a Ferrari 488. I'm going to try and put together a video as best as I can on this. We're going to have some video footage of the cars on the track, and then we've also paid to have the in-house video footage as well that you can have when you are going around in the car. So we're using a company called Xtreme Xperience. They operate all over the country, and they offer about 8 different cars, muscle cars and sort of supercars. And so we chose these because Tommy wanted to drive a Ferrari. I've always wanted to drive a Lamborghini. I've never driven one. I once had a Fiat Uno, which my late brother would often quip that its single windscreen wiper was the closest I would ever get to a Lamborghini, and he's turned out to be right. But it should be quite interesting. I'm not out to set any lap records. I'm just out to savour the experience. I'm Darren, and welcome to Auto Atlantica. So Lamborghini as a company, of course, needs no introduction. Ferruccio Lamborghini set the company up initially making tractors, and they still make tractors to this day. But supercars is where he cut his teeth, because he wanted to set up a company that would offer an alternative to the all-conquering Ferrari. Lamborghini burst onto the supercar scene at the 1963 Turin show with the GTV concept. That was followed up with the 300 and 400 GT production versions, which were very successful. And then the limited run Islera and the GT Espada and Jurama models were capped with the Halo car, the V12 mid-engine Mira in 1968. That followed on into the Countach, one of the most iconic supercars ever built, and the poster car on everybody's bedroom walls. That was followed up, of course, with the Diablo, and then the Murcielago, and then the incredible Aventador, and finally onto the current Rivuelto. Now, they've long essentially made 2 different types of supercar, a cheaper version or smaller version, and the sort of exotica. In recent years, they've developed a number of sort of limited edition hypercars, as they're known as, which are very exclusive, built in small numbers. So these limited run models began with the Reventon, built 35 of those things, and then the incredible Venimo, of which they only built 12. They built the Centenario, of which they built 40, and then the incredible looking Sian with the current design theme, of which they built 80. And then finally, the reinvigorated Countach, 112 were built. I am going to be driving a Huracán today, which is essentially the equivalent of McLaren Sports Series. It's a supercar in its own right. The car, of course, was developed in conjunction with Audi. It uses the 5.2 litre V10, which was developed jointly with Audi. Now, due to financial troubles in the 1970s, only 700 or so Huracos were built, just 50 silhouettes, and the updated version of that car, the Halper, around about 200 to 300 or so. But of course, in more recent years, their fortunes have changed. They built 10,000 Gallardos, of course, this was in conjunction with Audi, and about 20,000 Huracans, and then the Temerario has just gone into production. The 610-4 was the initial variant of the Huracán, which debuted in 2014. And shortly afterwards, a rear-wheel drive version was also offered, which was slightly detuned. And that was the 580-2, producing around 571 or so regular horsepower, if you like. And then a year after that, there was a Performante version, which was a more highly tuned version called the 644. Again, that was four-wheel drive. Now the version I'm going to be driving, the 610-4, is it will rev, it's redlined at about 8,500 revs. It's quite incredible. Now the Huracán itself was facelifted in 2019 and the engines were revised and uprated. My favourite of which was the Starato, I think it was called, which was a special off-roading version. I don't really go in for supercars myself. They're not really my bag, as you can tell from my sort of wayward knowledge, but I did like that particular version. It was quite interesting. We're going to Nelson Ledges, which is in northeast Ohio, for our track day experience today, and we'll put this together, see what happens, and then at the end of the video I'll give you my thoughts on it.
The Nelson Ledges track is an old track. It's a small one, it's not a fast track. The facilities are very old and very basic, but the Xtreme Xperience crew did a good job. They start off with this brief training tutorial governing safety aspects mostly, before you are led out to where the actual cars are. At that point you are then given the various head garb and the helmets, etc. They have trained specialists that make sure you've got the right size for you as well. My head being rather big, needed a large helmet. Now the instructors are in constant radio communication both with the pits and all the other cars on the course. They also have the mirrors set up for their viewing only, so all you have to do is concentrate on the track ahead.
Nice. Good job.
Good, right there. Excellent. Let the car come out to the orange cone. Isn't that fun?
That's amazing.
All right, we're gonna lift. Now, give me some brakes. Good, good. Off the brakes completely now. Be patient, be patient. Turn in. Excellent. Does that help alleviate not seeing the track before? You go orange to green. But yeah, that's why we have them there. Good job. Good, yep. Good brakes. Yep, drag that brake there. Good. Now melt off the brake smooth. You can be off the brake completely now. Back on the gas a little bit if you like. A little bit of gas. There you go. Give me a little bit more, Darren. There you go. I'm going to push you a little bit, okay? A little bit more gas. There you go. Just hold it. Now lift. Back to my side. Orange to green. Good. Nice. Through the chicane one more time. Good execution on the chicane. Start to accelerate for me, Darren. Side. Start to accelerate out. Go as fast as you like, okay? Nice up, green. Good job. Good, good. Back to my side, yep. There you go. Back to your side. Just brush the brake, but keep it a little further out this time. Okay, now turn in. There you go. A little bit of gas, a little bit of gas. Good job. That's a fun corner.
Amazing. Totally amazing.
Just a little bit of brake, drag the brake there. Good. Orange to green. Fantastic job, Darren. Let the car stay out wide. So after this corner, we're going to bring it down and we're going to pit in, okay?
Okay, great.
All right.
That's fantastic.
Right, so we are almost getting ready to leave here. What an experience that was. So I'm just going to break this sort of summary down as to the overall experience and what you can expect, certainly if you're taking this experience here at Nelson Ledges. Firstly, the facility itself. It is under relative new management, so this track was let to go to pasture, so to speak, for a very long time. They have resurfaced it to competition standards. The facilities do leave much to be desired, to be fair. It's a bit like going into your garden shed, for example. The toilet facilities are not good. Okay, so let's get that out of the way first. The track itself is very cool. It's a nice little track, especially if you are learning what a track day should be like. It's not too difficult. Yet there are some parts to it that can really throw a curveball at you. Now, we had gone through the track on the Assetto Corsa game, so we knew what the track was like, and that is a very accurate depiction. So in that respect, it wasn't difficult to get used to the track. What was a bit more difficult was getting used to the abilities of the car. Now, I was in a Lamborghini Huracán LP6 4. The acceleration was, as I expected, not that much quicker, to be honest, than my Camaro. I mean, literally a second to 60, and a second is a blink of an eye, really, at that speed. However, the grip on it, as Tommy was saying, it was probably more to do with the tyres, was absolutely incredible, and that's what you tend to underestimate. And you know, you get 3 laps, and it takes really that long to build up your confidence. Absolutely incredible experience, incredible car. Absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. Got some video of me, various pictures of me in the damn thing as well. I did have a job getting in and out of it, especially with the helmet on, but that's by the by. Xtreme Xperience, as to the job that they do, I think it's top notch. It was everything I expected it to be and more. Now, we paid for the video ride along, which is this. Obviously, this is the standard ID card that you get with your car on. You know, that everything was seamless. The instructor was fantastic. He guided you every second of the way, and they are in radio communication with the pits and other instructors as well. Concierge was great, got a free t-shirt as well. They just guide you through every step of the way, you know, right down to helmet sizes, etc. It was brilliant, and yeah, they did a really good job. You can't go a foot wrong, because they just guide you through every single step. So well done, Xtreme Xperience. It's a thumbs up from me. I'm Darren Walker, and this is Auto Atlantica.